Kulosum's palm was accidentally pierced by a barbecue skewer. Bazgasht was completely unconcerned about his injury. With no other choice, he had to cross the mountains by himself to find herbs to treat the wound. In front of the tent, Bazgasht was leisurely drinking tea. Meanwhile, inside the tent, the old woman was busy preparing cloth strips for Kulosum's injured hand to make a simple bandage. Kulosum asked Bazgasht to buy him some medicine. But Bazgasht just said the medicine was too expensive, that he had no money for it. Kulosum continued, "How about this? Could you go to the mountains and gather some herbs for me?" But Bazgasht replied flatly, "I still have to watch the sheep. You should go yourself." Kulosum's hand was injured, because while grilling corn, he was accidentally stabbed deep in the palm by a skewer. It was already starting to swell up. No matter how humbly he begged Bazgasht, even just to gather some medicinal herbs, but Bazgasht only offered a cold reply. "You were careless and did this to yourself. You can't blame anyone else. Going to the hospital costs too much. I don't have money for your treatment." Kulosum now prepared to apply a simple dressing. He applied his own homemade remedy, but it probably wouldn't do much. From the side, Bazgasht said, "If someone would lend us the money, I would take you to a doctor." The old woman also told Bazgasht to take Kulosum to see a doctor, but Bazgasht insisted that he had no money. Left with no alternative, the old woman told Kulosum to go to the mountains to find some tree resin and gather some herbs to apply to the wound. Bazgasht went along with her words, saying, "You go to the mountains and get some herbs first. We'll boil them for you to apply. If it still doesn't get better, then we will sell a sheep and take you to a doctor. We really don't have the money. A trip to the hospital costs a lot." With no other way, Kulosum put on his shoes, preparing to go to the mountains to gather herbs. The old woman helped him prepare his bag and filled his canteen with water. Although Kulosum had gathered herbs many times for a sick Bazgasht before, and on one occasion, he even spent 3 days and 2 nights in the vast mountains before finally bringing the herbs back. Now that his hand was injured and he needed help, Bazgasht remained cold and indifferent, telling him to figure it out on his own. So Kulosum set out alone on the path into the mountains to find medicine. Because of his injured hand, today's journey would be even more dangerous and difficult. Kulosum has now reached this mountaintop. He stops to observe the route ahead. From this vantage point, a small village can be faintly seen at the foot of the mountain. Kulosum raises his hand and points forward. He says he needs to cross the mountain ridge not far ahead. Only in the valley on the other side will he find the herbs he's looking for. But this path is not an easy one. He has no other choice. He can only rely on his own 2 feet and his own courage to find that glimmer of hope hidden deep in the mountains. He has now come to this cliff face. Ignoring the pain in his hand, he presses his body against the rock wall, grips the stone ledges with his hands, and climbs upward little by little. In the vast Zagros Mountains, His figure is tiny, yet determined. Every climb is like a struggle against fate. Whether for his family or for himself, Kulosum must give it his all. Deep within these mountains, life is an adventure that must be faced every day. After a difficult climb, Kulosum, halfway up the mountain, sees a pistachio tree. Its branches are full of small fruits. Some have turned dark, which means the fruit is ripe. He picks a few and takes a bite, chewing carefully. The flavor is rich, with the unique bitterness and sweet aftertaste of the mountains. It is a rare bit of comfort in his exhaustion. The pistachio harvesting season is generally from late August to mid-September. The timing can vary slightly, depending on the climate and altitude. Kulosum finishes picking the ripe pistachios. After eating them, he regains a little energy, then continues his climb upward. Finally, after scaling the last rock face, he reaches the summit. From here, he can see the peaks of the Zagros range in the distance, stretching endlessly. Vast and silent, it creates a feeling of unseen pressure. Kulosum remarks that his journey is still long. For him, it is not just the length of the mountain path, but also the heavy burden of life. After a short rest on the summit, he starts to descend the other side of the mountain. He might find some useful herbs on the slope. Finally, on this slope, Kulosum finds a plant, a fresh medicinal herb. He picks it to take back with him. He says, this herb needs to be crushed and applied to the wound. It can reduce inflammation, relieve pain, and prevent infection. Here in the Zagros Mountains, nature is both a challenge to life and its most fundamental source of healing. For Kulosum, this small plant is the most precious hope at this moment. He continues down the slope, carefully watching his step. If he sees a useful herb, he picks it. This type of plant, growing in the crevices of cliff walls, is believed by the locals to be the most potent. It can be very helpful for wounds. Kulosum says, this herb has anti-inflammatory and astringent properties. It can also effectively stop infection. After gathering the herbs, Kulosum starts down the loose gravel slope. The loose stones under his feet shift slightly with every step. If he's not careful, he could lose his balance and fall. His other injured hand hurts because of the pain. All I can do is try to avoid putting pressure on it. I have to avoid direct contact with the ground. That could cause a more serious secondary injury and infection. Just like that, Kulosum. She carefully and slowly slides down the gravel slope. Then she reaches the slope on this side. She continues to search for the medicinal herbs she needs. The few herbs she picked earlier are not enough. She needs to find some tree resin. There's an oak tree here. The acorns are still green. They haven't ripened yet. They usually ripen from late September to October. Kulosum. Now she has come to a steep slope. The ground here is covered with dry leaves. Every step she takes is extremely unstable. She slips from time to time. Ahead of her, Kulosum finally spots a tall, dense pistachio tree. A pistachio tree. But she's not here to pick the nuts. She's here for the resin that has solidified on the trunk. This milky white or light yellow resin is a natural remedy the local nomads often use for inflammation and to kill bacteria. It can form a natural protective layer over a wound. For Kulsum, this is the most crucial ingredient for treating her hand injury. But not all tree resin can be used for treatment. Only the pistachio tree and a few other plants from the same family are the best choice. Their resin is rich in natural antibacterial and anti-inflammatory compounds. Kulsum puts the resin into a small jar. She needs to bring back as much as possible, because the wound on her hand needs to be treated repeatedly. The resin from just one tree isn't nearly enough. She still needs to find several more trees. In the Zagros Mountains, wild pistachio trees are not uncommon. They grow along the cliffs and in patches down the dry mountain slopes. Each tree is like a medicine cabinet gifted by nature. In the lives of the nomads, it carries a healing legacy passed down through generations. The resin from some trees is freshly secreted and translucent milky white, while some has been drying in the sun for a long time. It will slowly turn light yellow or even amber. Kulsum has now come to another large pistachio tree. The bark of this tree is densely covered with spots of secreted resin, glistening slightly in the sunlight. White and pale yellow are mixed together, like tiny solidified dewdrops. Before long, Kulsum's small jar is filled with enough pistachio resin. When she gets back, she can mix it with the herbs she gathered earlier to make an ointment. She will apply it to the wound. It will help reduce inflammation and prevent infection. Now she packs up her cloth bag and prepares to head back down the mountain path. Today's herb gathering trip involved a lot of climbing, but overall, it went smoothly. After Kulsum gets home, she starts to prepare the medicinal ingredients. Even though earlier, Bazgasht repeatedly said he would help Kulsum prepare these herbs. But when the time actually came, she still had to do it all herself. But before she could even finish, Bazgasht tells her to go back up the mountain and bring the sheep herd back. This time, Kulsum firmly refuses. She says, "I went through so much trouble to gather these herbs from the mountain today. I almost fell on the way. I need to prepare the medicine and apply it first. Only then can I go look for the sheep." Seeing Kulsum's firm attitude, Bazgasht doesn't insist anymore. After all, at this moment, it really wouldn't be reasonable to argue. Right now, Kulsum is crushing the herb leaves bit by bit. This releases the juices from the leaves, so the medicine can work better. Her mother-in-law helps by picking the leaves. At this point, Bazgasht speaks up, saying, "Since your hand hurts, go ahead and put the medicine on. I'll go find the sheep first." Kulsum replies, "If you can't find them, after I put on my medicine, I'll go and help you look." Only then did the atmosphere ease up a bit. With Bazgasht gone, Kulsum can finally prepare her medicine in peace. The herbs are crushed a few more times. The leaves become soft, and release a little juice. Now Kulsum mixes the resin and the herbs. It gradually turns into a sticky medicinal paste. Before she starts applying the ointment, Kulsum first takes the boiled herbal water and pours it over her injured hand, rinsing the wound where the skewer pierced it. This step is very important. This herbal water has natural antiseptic and anti-inflammatory properties. It can help clean the dirt from the wound's surface and bacteria while also softening the skin. This allows the ointment that follows to better penetrate the damaged tissue. Although the wound isn't very large, Kulsum says it hurts a lot. The skin around it is already swollen. There are slight signs of inflammation. If not treated properly, even a small wound can get worse quickly. After rinsing with the herbal water, now Kulsum begins to apply the prepared resin and herb paste onto the wound. The thick herbs and resin cover the swollen skin. The pistachio resin has a natural sealing and antibacterial effect. The juice from the herbs can relieve inflammation and promote healing. This is the most primitive and likely the most effective treatment she could find for herself in these mountains. Finally, Kulsum places a piece of tissue paper over the ointment on the wound. This serves to isolate and secure it, preventing the ointment from being wiped off. Her mother-in-law then uses a strip of cloth for a simple bandage. After applying the medicine, Kulsum gathers up her tools. Now she can only put her hope in nature's gift, praying that the power of the herbs will be enough to let her hand gradually heal. As for the result, she will have to wait and see. Just then, her mother-in-law's phone suddenly rings. It's Bazgash calling. She hands the phone directly to Kulsum. Most likely the call is for her. Sure enough, as soon as the call connects, Bazgasht tells her to go to the mountain to find the sheep. The flock has scattered, and he can't find them all by himself. He wants Kulsum to help him search separately. Before the call even ends, Kulsum is already putting on her shoes, getting ready to head out to the mountain to find the scattered sheep. It's as if she's long been accustomed to this pace of life. In this family, neither the pain of a wound nor physical discomfort can ever be a reason to stop. Kulsum finds the scattered sheep on this hillside. She herds these goats back. Her life never has a moment's rest. For Kulsum, pain can be endured, exhaustion can be endured, but the flock cannot be lost.